All right, well, today I thought we'd do something pretty interesting. I've sorted the kata by popularity, so we can see break camel case is the most popular problem I haven't solved in level 6 using Java. Now, what I wanted to do is I wanted to refer back to a very famous book, How to Solve It. Just go over a few of the points. Not that we have to spend too much time on it, but I think it's a really great book. And I'll post a link to it. It's a book from the 1940s. Great mind. Pola, I don't quite know how to pronounce his name. So let's give this problem a try. I've never looked at it before. Complete the solution so that the function will break up camel casing using a space between words. So for example, you send in camel, and then that's all lowercase, then capital C for casing. It will split the word. Okay, this looks interesting. There's probably some great regular expressions to solve this, but let's just see what we can come up with. So if we see here, you have to understand the problem. What is the unknown? What are the data? What is the condition? So one by one, the unknown is how exactly do we use Java? What is the syntax to take a string that has lowercase, uppercase indicating a new word, and then return the two separated by a space? So one thing that I like to do is I like to make a variable to return. Find a connection between the data and the unknown. You may be obliged to consider auxiliary problems if an immediate connection cannot be found. You should obtain eventually a plan of the solution. Have you seen it before? Or have you seen the same problem in a slightly different form? Do you know a related problem? Well, I've certainly seen problems with strings similar to this on Codewars, so I'm pretty confident I'll be able to get a solution. I don't know exactly how to do it in one step. There's a little bit of thought that's going to go into this, and some trial and error. You know, it might be a little bit longer than the level 7 and level 8 videos from before, but I'm pretty confident we'll be able to get the right answer. Okay. Next, carry out your plan and examine the solution obtained. So I like this first page of the book. It's an excellent book. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Okay. So let's see what we can come up with. Why don't we say here, Boolean found next word equals false for int I equals 0, while I is less than input.length, I++. And now we're going to say, if found next word is false, and we found a capital input, so we could say input.char at I, let's say that's capital, character dot is upper. It's just a matter of knowing the syntax. Pretty sure that's what we can do. Now we can say found next word equals true. All right. And we can go ahead and add all these words to an array list. I like that idea. An array list of strings, words equals new array list. So int start equals 0, and if we found the next word, then this is now the end of that first word. So we can say here, words dot add, and we can say here input dot substring from start to I. Okay, looks good. And let's see. Do we need this found next word? Not quite sure. Not quite sure. Not sure if we need that. Not sure if we need that. I think if we just find an uppercase, then we found the next. So we can say here I equal, or start equals I, after we added the word. Say start equals I. And at the end, we're going to have to go through and add all the words to our to return. So we can just use an enhanced for loop. We can say string word within words. And then for each word, we're going to just keep adding the word and this space. Then at the end, we're going to return the word we just made, but we don't need the last character. So we can just go from the beginning to length minus 1, because we don't need that extra empty space at the end. And it seems a little wordy, it seems a little verbose, but I think it's logical, and I think that it is definitely a connection between what we're looking to do and what we need to have output. The only thing we need to do at this point is to carry out the plan and then just look at the solution that we obtained. So let's see step 3. See if this even works. So let's run test. Okay, so we have a problem with the imports. We can't use the array list without importing import java.util.arraylist. Okay, it's a mistake, got to fix. And now it says it can't find character is upper. Okay, so what we're going to need to do is we're going to look for character is upper Java, and it might be is uppercase. Let's see. So I was confident, yeah, it is uppercase. I was confident in my syntax abilities, and then I left off case. No big deal. That's why we do this. Let's run it again. Okay, so we found camel casing. Okay, so we expected camel casing, but we just got camel. Let's see. What could be the problem here? We're adding the words from start to I. I wonder if we need to go one less than I. No, that's definitely not it. Let's see. So we're going through the word, and we can say substring start I if is uppercase. Oh, you know what? If we're at the end, we need to deal with the last one. Okay. Okay. So if I equals input dot length, all right, so if we're at the end, we need to go to input dot length minus 1. Then we need to go from words dot add input dot substring start through I. Okay, so this makes sense. If we're at the very last character, we need to add that word as well. So let's give this a run. Okay. So expected camel casing. You know what? I think I had an off by 1 error there. Expected input length minus 1. I minus 1. Or I plus 1. Man, I really get confused with these off by 1 errors sometimes. It really can be a pain. Expected camel casing. Okay. Yeah, pretty kludgy. I don't like that feeling. So when I'm here at input length, what if well, I'm going while it's less than input length. Okay. So I have to be at input length minus 1. Okay, so let's see here. That works. All right, so here, begin 0, end minus 1, length 0. Okay, so we got to deal with the input. If input equals null, return null. All right, or let's just return an empty string. If, remember, null just means nothing's in memory. If input dot length equals 0, then we can just return nothing as well. Let's give this a try. Okay, now it passed all the tests. What was the biggest issue I had here? The biggest issue I had with this problem was in working with the substring. Substring will often give you off by 1 errors. It just happens. You can't beat yourself up when it happens. Now, looking through this solution here, I can see that I deal with the fact that the input might be null, the input length might be 0, and then I just have to return nothing. I've got an array list, which is very useful because you can keep adding values to it without worrying about the size. Like with an array, the start is going to be where we're starting on the current word. So we're going to start with 0. I'm going to loop through all the characters in the word. I'm going to say, look, if we found an uppercase character, then we need to add the current word, right? Because we have finished with our word. That's the idea behind camelCasing. Then we're going to continue the start with the current position that we're on. Now, we need to add the last word as well. That's what was getting me at the beginning, right? When I first started running these tests. Now, we need to take all of the words that we found in our array list, use the enhanced for loop, keep adding them to the string we want to return along with a space. At the end, we don't want to include that space, so we're going to use substring from 0 through length minus 1. Now, if we submit, we're going to look at some solutions here. Now, I knew that there was going to be some great one-liners, all right? And the best way to do it is with replace all. We're saying, okay, you find a capital letter, A through Z. What do you want to do? You want to add a space. So really, really powerful. All right. Here we see something a little closer to mine, except a lot shorter. They're going through, if a character is uppercase, they're going to add a space. But what's interesting is they made a to return. They made an output. Yeah, I mean this solution is definitely a lot cleaner than mine. I'm gonna give that a best practice. All right, there we go. This is looking a little more like mine, except they're not dealing with input being a null or a empty string. Interesting. All right, very cool. So, I think that this was a very enjoyable problem. Oh, let's check out the stream. All right, so we have here, we're turning the input into characters. We're going to use map to object. And we're going to say, all right, if we're between A and Z, capital letters, then we're going to add in a space. So they use the ternary operator. This is really, really nice. A lot of fun with this problem. Thanks for solving with me.